Good morning. I am Lindy Spreetsma, and I serve on the board of this church, the DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church, in case you didn't know. I welcome everyone to our service this morning and welcome visitors to our open and inclusive community. As Unitarian Universalists, we hold that there are many spiritual paths to truth and meaning, and we support one another as we each explore these paths. I would like to especially welcome our guests and welcome again those who have visited us before. Visitors, it is the custom of our congregation to invite you to stand and give your name and where you are from if you feel comfortable doing so. Are there any visitors who would like to introduce themselves? Welcome. Are there any other visitors who'd like to introduce themselves? Okay. Please join us after the service for coffee hour. And we have a special celebration today because Bill and Agnes Kovacs are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Do you want to stand? There you go. We would love to have a chance to get to know you better. Our Director of Religious Education, Steve Cooper, is at GA, so he's not here, but maybe next time. And our Congregational Life Coordinator, Mary Law, may not be here either, but maybe later. And all our members are eager to meet you. I will also be present after the service. However, I'll be busy. So I have to count money, so. And we would be happy to speak to you. I'm sure there's plenty about it, people. Our service can be heard outside the glass doors at the back of the sanctuary, should anyone feel the need to leave the service for any reason. There are chairs provided for your convenience. As we begin our service, please silence all your electronic devices. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindy. Today we welcome Matt Meyer back to our pulpit. Matt is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist with a long background as a musician and worship leader for UU congregations. He lives in Boston, but travels as an itinerant worship leader, bringing the good news of Unitarian Universalism to hundreds of congregations all over the country. He serves as the Director of Operations for Sanctuary Boston, a contemporary UU worship community with rockin' music and engaging worship. Welcome, Matt. We light our chalice this morning for acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations.
For our call to worship this morning, we're going to sing each other into this space. Your part goes like this. Call down a blessing, 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 call down. Let's try that. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, Call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Beauty above us, beauty before us, beauty within us and beauty between us. So call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Love above us, love before us, love within us and love between us. So call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Let's take a deep breath together. And our first hymn is 3 songs that we're going to try all at the same time. You might already know some of them. The first one goes like this. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. The second one goes like this. Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, how I want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in. The third one was newer to me. It goes like this. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. Let's try that. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. All right, so we're gonna start with that one. Then we're gonna add Swing Low, and then we're gonna add Oh When the Saints. You can pick whichever one you like best. Stick with that one the whole time. Or you can move back and forth between them. Or if you know another song that works well with these, you just go ahead and plug it right in, okay? I invite you to rise in body or spirit. A couple more things. We're going to be doing a lot of singing this morning, as you may have guessed by now, and I invite you to do that in whatever way is most comfortable for you. If the words elude you and you just want to hum along, that's just as good. If you want to be silent and just soak in the sound of the room, that's just as good too. And if you want to rock out like you are alone in the car with your radio, this is your morning to do it. And these songs in particular come from an African-American tradition of resilience, a tradition of music that has looked oppression in the face, looked death in the face, and sung of a better future, sung of a better time to come anyway. And I think that's an important spirit to carry with us today, when we're in the political moment we're in, when the world is so full of so many ills, so much violence, that we can look that in the face and not shy away from it and still sing about a better world that we might build together. Let's take another breath together. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. Again. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. Keep going. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. swing low. Let's add in the third. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. How I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching. All right, sing out. Here we go. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah, hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. All right, now rock out like you're in the shower. Here we go. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah, hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing, dance. Hallelujah, hallelujah. When the gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. One more time. I'm gonna sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. When those gates are open wide, I'll be standing by your side. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna dance. Hallelujah. Oh, you sound good. Let's take a deep breath, and you may be seated as you exhale. That sounded so much better than the looks on your faces when we started. It would have led me to believe that it would. Well, I'd like to share a story with you all, a story by an author named Michael Hall called Red, a Crayon Story. And you may have guessed that this is a story about a crayon named Red. The thing about Red, though, is that, well, to be honest, between you and me, he wasn't very good at being red. When Red tried to draw a bright red fire truck, it came out looking a little bit blue. When he tried to draw a bright red apple for his teacher, well, it was bluer than any apple had ever been in real life. Now, lots of people had ideas for how to help Red with this situation. The teacher thought that he just needed to practice more. She said, I'll draw a red strawberry, and then you draw a red strawberry. She drew a beautiful red strawberry, but, well, his strawberry came out, you guessed it, blue. Red's mom thought maybe he just needed to work more with the other crayons in his class, to just practice more and collaborate. Well, she said, how about you and Yellow go outside and draw a bright orange on a giant sheet of paper. And they spent all afternoon working on it, a beautiful circular orange. But the thing is that it came out looking kind of green. It wasn't great. Now, some of the art supplies, they tried to be more helpful. The tape thought maybe Red was just broken on the inside and gave him a little piece of tape to help hold him together. The scissors thought maybe he just needed to loosen up and relax a little bit. Often that's the problem. He just gave his label just a little snip to help him loosen up. It didn't work good. The pencil sharpener thought he just needed to focus, but that didn't do the trick either. Now, I know this doesn't happen here in your community, but among the crayons, some of them started talking to each other about the situation. Some of them started whispering about Red when he wasn't around. One of them said, I think maybe he's not even red at all. Well, of course he's red, said another. He came that way straight from the factory. Yeah, said another, it says red right on his label. I just think he needs to press harder. He needs to apply himself, said one. That's it. He's just being lazy, said another. Well, you may have guessed. Turns out this didn't help either. One day, though, Red was working in the classroom, and there was a new crayon there. And this crayon introduced himself and said, I'm working on a special project I'm really excited about. I'm drawing a giant boat that can sail across the ocean. Would you draw a big ocean for my boat to sail across? Well, I can't do that, said Red. I'm red. Reds don't do oceans. Well, we'll just give it a try, said the other crayon. Doesn't hurt to at least give it a try. And so he did, and wouldn't you know that the ocean came out blue? Oh my gosh, said Red. I'm blue. And after that, he couldn't stop drawing all kinds of blue things. Blue jeans, blue berries, blue birds. The blue whale was everybody's favorite. And after that, wouldn't you know, everybody started talking again. I knew he was blue all along, said one. Of course. He was always blue, and it's such a beautiful project that he's working on now. So today's service is about those people in our life that help us to be more ourselves. Have any of you ever had a friend that you felt like they were such a good friend that you could be more yourself when you were with them? Has that ever happened to any of you? Yeah, that happens to me all the time. And there are also some people in our lives that are so good to us that they help us even learn more about ourselves when we spend some time with them. Has that ever happened to any of you? You had someone like that in your life? So we're going to be talking more about that as the service goes on. Who are those people in our lives that meet us where we're at, that invite us to try new things, that invite us to learn more about ourselves, and also how can we be that person for others? So thank you all for helping me with the story. And we're going to sing a little bit to get grounded into worship and also give the children a chance to go to their classes. This song, I think, captures the spirit of the story. It goes like this. I'll sing it once through, and then we can just try it together as we go. I will believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. Let's try that. I will believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. Again. I will believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. A couple more times. I will believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. One more time. I will believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. Amen. Our reading this morning also begins with a song. Your part goes like this. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Let's try that. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. These words from Maya Angelou. Lying thinking last night how to find my soul a home, where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody but nobody can make it here alone. Alone, all alone, nobody but nobody can make it here alone. Where you go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering and the wind is gonna blow. The race of man is suffering and I can hear the moan, 'cause nobody but nobody can make it here alone. Alone, all alone, Nobody but nobody can make it here alone. Where you go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And these words from Reverend Rebecca Parker. She says, love, as I and many religious progressives understand it, is a dangerous thing. We advocate for love that surprises, love that disrupts, love that alters the status quo, love that expresses itself in diverse ways and comes in rainbow colors. And from Reverend A. Paul Davies, he says, love is not a sentiment or a mere indulgence. Love is not just a tender softness towards all things, whether good or evil. Genuine love, would you say genuine love? Genuine love, he says. Creative love is the most demanding thing in the world. It will not relax its standards. It will not because it cannot. Let's sing once more. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Thank you. Our next hymn is There's a River Flowing in My Soul. It was written by a woman named Fea Ora Rose Toure, who used to be named Rose Sanders. It not only is Fea Ora Rose Toure a singer-songwriter and also a poet and also a playwright, but she also has founded numerous civil rights organizations to work for racial justice. And in addition to all of that, I don't know, I guess in her free time, she was also the first black woman judge of Alabama. And just a few years ago in retirement, in her mid-80s, she was arrested for civil disobedience, protesting the construction of a Confederate monument in her hometown in Alabama. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing this song in honor of her and all of those working to dismantle the binaries that have divided us for too long. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my, and it's telling me, here we go, and it's telling me that I'm some, and it's telling me that I'm some, and it's telling one more, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. Let's take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale and set the song down gently.
So once upon a time, I was invited to a costume party hosted by none other than Scott Coyer, the coolest kid in my 5th grade class. That's true. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember 5th grade as the year that I first began to really take notice of the social hierarchy of things. The year I first began to recognize that there was a sort of pyramid of coolness, with a few kids at the top and more of us closer to the bottom. And I was fascinated by trying to figure out the rules of this game. Was I at the bottom because I still wore sweatpants to school every day when all the other kids had moved on to jeans? Or because word had somehow gotten out that I wanted to grow up and be a singer like Mariah Carey? Not cool, although it is a dream I still cling to. As far as I could tell at the time, the most revered kids were the ones who were the very best, the very most skillful at making fun of other kids, which made the whole system, theologically speaking, a very particular kind of hell. Looking back now, the rules seem to have been mostly correlated with gender roles and who was the best at performing their part, male or female, boy or girl. Girls with fashionable outfits were, of course, higher up on the pyramid, as were boys who were good at boy things, like playing sports or hiding your feelings. Right? So back to this high-stakes costume party. I had spent weeks deciding what to wear, deciding whether to go as a clown or an army guy. I'd gone back and forth, till I eventually changed my mind at the last possible moment. I think we had actually left the house, but I ran back inside. I threw off the clown costume I'd had on, and I grabbed the army guy outfit and got dressed in the car on the way to the party. So you can only imagine my surprise when I arrived, and I learned that this was not, in fact, a costume party. Nope. It was, however, an army-themed party, though. So at the end of the night, I won the award for Best Dressed, which is to this day the only time anyone has even considered giving me that kind of an award. Now, you would think that this miracle of good fortune would have left me feeling great about myself. But I was actually just as anxious as ever, knowing that I had escaped such massive embarrassment by the skin of my teeth. I knew that even if I'd been dealt a good hand for the night, the rules of this game were still not in my favor in the long run. And of course, just the picture of showing up to that army-themed party in a clown costume is a picture that, even though it never happened, is still so burned into my mind that it haunts me to this day. So much so that I'm preaching to you about it this morning. Now, fast forward a couple of years, and I attended a summer camp here in Illinois where these rules seemed to be turned upside down. There were certainly still some folks that were more popular than others, but they seemed to be the ones who were the warmest and the most welcoming. Respect went to the people that invited newcomers into the circle to join the conversation. This was a place that fostered connection instead of competition. This was a place of genuine love. If you've ever found a place like that in your own life, would you say out loud right now, genuine love? Genuine love. I remember wondering, how does a place like this even happen? How did these camp counselors find all of the nicest people in the whole country and get them to the backwoods of Illinois for a week every August? One conversation in particular that perhaps explains a piece of it has stuck with me. I was on a long walk with a new friend, and I don't remember exactly what I said to him, but at some point I basically bragged to him that somebody who we were both close with had given me a friendship bracelet instead of him. Now, you all know that in the social currency of hippie love camp, friendship bracelets are like the gold standard, right? So here I was, enjoying this person's company, really enjoying his company, and then saying this awful thing to him about who was closer friends with who. What I thought I knew about community or relationship was some kind of boxing ring mentality. thinking that whoever throws the best punch wins. But my new friend responded to my unkindness, and he did it with love in a way that I literally did not know was possible. He looked me in the eye, and he smiled, and he said how glad he was that I was finding a home here. This was a person of creative love. If you found people like that in your life, would you say out loud right now, creative love? Creative love. Whatever nonsense I'd learned about social hierarchy, and whatever awful lessons I had internalized about how men are supposed to speak to each other, I saw for at least that moment for the nonsense that it was. When I showed up believing that competition and put-downs would get me somewhere, he showed up with a love that dismantles the status quo. He had literally loved the hell out of me. If we have any hope for building the kind of world that we want to live in together, the kind of world we've envisioned in our hearts and articulated in our principles, we need to seek out those mentors who love us enough to meet us where we're at and love us enough not to let us stay there. And then we need to go out in the world and be that person for others, because nobody but nobody can make it here alone. Way back in college, I will always remember this weekend-long training I attended for street medics, learning how to provide first aid to folks who are injured by police at large demonstrations. I learned a lot of useful things about how to do first aid for people who were tear gassed or pepper sprayed or stepped on by police, but the thing that actually has stuck with me the most to this day was our first 20 minutes of the whole weekend. Our opening check-in, we were asked to go around and have each person share their name, where they were from, and the pronouns that they used, whether they wanted to be called by he or she or they or something else. Now, all of my life, people had read my gender in somewhat complicated ways, but this was the first time I'd ever been explicitly given the option of identifying as I wanted, as felt right to me. I realized that at that time, 20 years, no one had ever asked before. Going on after this to learn the stories of transgender people in my life and also in reading, my heart opened, and I began to recognize that even while I continued to identify as male, I began to see how this multitude of behaviors and thoughts and feelings and preferences that make me the unique person I am had all along the way been carved up and placed in these narrow boxes, boy or girl, male or female. This invitation to share my pronoun was such a gift. You don't have to call yourself by what the rest of the world has always called you. You are invited to show up here as your whole self, no costume required. There are few among us for whom this made-up story of gender has not limited our understandings of who we are or who we might be. I heard a story a little while back about basketball star Wilt Chamberlain, who, despite being one of the greatest players to ever play the game, maybe who ever will, he was terrible at shooting free throws. Now, free throws are the only time in the game where you get to stand right in front of the basket and make a shot without anyone in your way. But Chamberlain only made an atrocious 40% of these shots. Except for one game, March 2nd, 1962, when he made 90% of his free throws. And the difference in this one game, he was throwing underhand from between his legs. It turns out that this is a much better way to shoot free throws, and his scoring proved it. But at the end of the game, he decided to go back to throwing overhand, and he decided to go back to missing. And the only reason he ever gave for the switch back was that throwing underhand made him feel like a sissy. Despite having solved his greatest weakness as a player, he decided to go back to missing. To the greatest basketball player who ever played the game, the only thing more important to him than that game that he dedicated his life to, more important to him than his career, more important even than being a good teammate, was not looking like a sissy. I wish he'd had a summer camp friend like mine, or a progressive faith community like yours. If we could have not loved the hell out of him, at least we could have loved the bad free throwing out of him. Religion ought to be the place where we dismantle these boxes that have been placed over us and locked down around us. If you agree, would you say dismantle the boxes? Dismantle the boxes. Religious community should be a place of the love that comes in rainbow colors. Dear ones, there are those of us who were raised as boys, and we were educated into this masculinity. We who call ourselves men have sometimes chosen misguided understandings of status over our relationships. We were taught to choose image over authenticity, to value speaking more than listening, to value objectification instead of real connection. Fellow men, if that describes some piece of your own story, as it certainly does mine, will you recommit with me to building beloved community that sets our relationships ahead of the false idols of status and power? If so, fellow men, would you say, I do? Thank you. So similarly, for those of us educated into the myth of whiteness, we have too often learned to value our own comfort above justice, to value individualism above community, and intellectualized empathy in place of gut-level transformation, when transformation is what our country so badly needs right now. Fellow white folks, at a time when our country continues to separate families, particularly families of color, at the border and also in detention centers across the country, at a time when they continue to divide families and whole communities through a system of mass incarceration, fellow white folks, will you join me in recommitting to creating justice not just as an idea, but as a new way of life? If so, would you say I do? Those of us of all different kinds of identities have all different kinds of commitments to be making if we're going to build the kind of world that we want to live in, because nobody can make it out here alone. In Canada a few years ago, there was a particularly concerning video that went viral online. A video of a conservative white religious woman rapping about how transgender people shouldn't be allowed to use the bathrooms for which they identify. That's right, I said rapping. This video was offensive on many fronts. Don't Google it. An 11-year-old Unitarian Universalist friend of mine, Anthony James, wanted to respond because having grown up in Unitarian Universalist community, it had never occurred to him that religion would be used for discrimination. That's sweet, huh? As someone who himself identified as gender creative, for him, his religious community had been the first place where he was totally accepted without reservation. And so he got to work organizing his mom and then dozens of congregations from across Canada to make a new video, to come together making a video of love and support for the trans community, and proclaiming the role of religion in celebrating our full humanity, regardless of gender expression. Now, when Anthony's mother perhaps legitimately expressed concern about him as a gender-creative 11-year-old posting this video of himself permanently online, speaking out on a controversial issue, she said, "Some people out there will hold this against you." To which 11-year-old Anthony responded, "Right, Mom, that is not a reason to be quiet. It is a reason to speak up." As a white guy with a middle-class background, I sometimes feel like I showed up wearing just the right costume to this American party. It means that by some accident of fate, things can seem more equitable to me than they really are, or my community can appear safer for me than it is for others. I need people like Anthony, people like my summer camp friend, to mentor me and teach me the ways of beloved community. Would you say beloved community? I invite you to join me in seeking out those mentors that can show us the better way that we didn't know was possible. Together we can find those moments where we can change the rules of the game. Would you say change the rules? Change the rules. Where we've been limited by made-up stories of race and of gender, where we recognize those systems of oppression surrounding us and also within us. Let's get together and dismantle the false binaries wherever we find them and build bridges, not walls, to justice. Would you say bridges, not walls? Bridges, not walls. And friends, in our prayers and in our words and in our faithful action, let's go forth in love to build the world that we know is possible. Would you say love? Love. May it be so. Amen.
I share these words from the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Give up the fight for some other moment, some other life than here and now. Give up the longing for some other world, the wishing for other choices to make, other songs to sing, other bodies, other ages, other countries, other stakes. Purge the past. Forgive the future, for each come too soon. Surrender only to this life, this day, this hour, not because it does not constantly break your heart, but because it also beckons with beauty, startles with delight if only we keep waking up. This is the gift we have been given, these body clothes, this heartbreak, this pulse, this breath, this light, these friends, this hope. Here we remember ourselves, all a part of it all, giving thanks and centering joy. The offering for the good of our beloved community will now be given and gratefully received.
Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. Listen, my people, we bring the power. La libertad es la única bandera. Liberty is the only flag. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Oye, mi gente, traemos la fuerza. La libertad es la única bandera. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. Listen, my people, my condor, my eagle. No human being can ever be illegal. No human being can ever be illegal. No human closing song you've already learned a little bit of. It goes like this. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Let's try that. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Again. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. The next part goes like this. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Let's try that. Your people are my people. Your people are mine. Next part. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Let's try that. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will. For your people. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Please rise in body or spirit. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Oh, divine, my divine. So this song comes from the book of Ruth, one of only 2 books in the Bible named for a woman. And it comes where Ruth is speaking to her mother-in-law, this family that she's married into, although her husband has now passed away. And her mother-in-law, Naomi, is about to go on a very long and very dangerous journey, a journey that she doesn't know if she will return from. And Ruth is asked to travel with her. Naomi says, you don't have to do that. We're not related by blood. You don't owe me anything. But Ruth says, no, I've chosen to be in this family. We're family of choice now. We are family of covenant. Your God is my God, and where you go, I will go. In Unitarian Universalism, we don't have one image of God that binds us or one creed that connects us, but we are a people of covenant, a people who promise to travel together, even if the journey is long, even if the road is dangerous, and that we expand that covenant wider and wider as we travel, inviting more and more people in on the road with us. So I invite you to sing this song in that spirit, to sing through the joys and the sorrows of making that trip together. Here we go. Where you go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, Where you go, where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, for your people, here we go. For your people are my people. Your people are your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go in 5-part harmony. Here we go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people, for your people are my people. Your people, they are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. For your people, for your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. May we go forward with genuine love. Would you say genuine love? Love that surprises, love that disrupts, and love that alters the status quo as we know it. And may we go forward with creative love. Would you say creative love? Love that meets us where we're at but does not let us stay there. Love that calls us together to do together what we could not do alone. May you go in love, may you go in peace, and may you go and be blessed as you are a blessing to others. Amen.